Why do we dress up as ghouls, eat way too much candy and carve pumpkins every year? Where did all this come from? Stick around to the end to see if your favorite tradition made the list. And we've got a fun quiz for you halfway through, so don't ghost us just yet in this spine-tingling candy-coated history of Halloween. But first, let me ask you, what's your favorite part of Halloween? Is it the costumes, the candy, or the scaring your neighbors? Drop your answer in the comments. First things first, Halloween didn't start with pumpkins or candy. Nope, it all goes back to an ancient Celtic festival called Samhain that took place over 2,000 years ago in what's now Ireland, the UK, and northern France. The Celts believed that on October 31st, the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest, making it easier for spirits to cross over into the world of the living. To protect themselves from these wandering spirits, the Celts lit massive bonfires and wore costumes usually made from animal skins and heads. These disguises were thought to confuse the spirits or at the very least help people blend in among them. Imagine how wild that must have looked, ancient people running around in animal skins, trying not to get haunted. Eventually, this spooky tradition evolved as the Romans conquered Celtic territories. They merged Samhain with their own festivals like Feralia, a day to honor the dead. This mashup laid the groundwork for what would eventually become All Hallows Eve, which later morphed into the Halloween we know today. Quick poll, do you believe in ghosts? Yes or no? We promise we won't tell the ghosts. Okay, so how did this ancient festival turn into the pumpkin-filled candy fest we love today? Great question. As Christianity spread through Celtic regions, church leaders wanted to replace pagan festivals like Samhain with Christian holidays. So in the 9th century they created All Hallows Day on November 1st, a day to honor saints. And the night before, that became All Hallows Eve, eventually shortened to Halloween. Irish immigrants brought these traditions to America in the 1800s, but it wasn't until the mid-20th century that Halloween really took off as a commercial holiday. With a little help from candy companies, of course. Suddenly, instead of worrying about ghosts, people were worrying about what costume to wear and how much candy they could collect. Fun fact, the original jack-o'-lanterns weren't even pumpkins, they were carved out of turnips. Imagine trying to carve one of those bad boys. They used to place them outside their homes to ward off the ghost of Stingy Jack, a sneaky figure from Irish folklore. Nowadays we've got pumpkins, and thankfully they're way easier to carve. Speaking of candy, let's talk about everyone's favorite part of Halloween, trick-or-treating. But did you know that this wasn't always about candy? Nope. It all started with a practice called souling. In medieval times, poor children and adults would go door to door offering prayers for the souls of the dead in exchange for food, usually soul cakes. Over time, this transformed into the trick-or-treating we know today. But here's where it gets interesting. Candy didn't become the central part of Halloween until the 1950s. After World War II, there was a sugar boom, and candy companies saw Halloween as a golden opportunity to make bank. And they were right. Nowadays, Americans spend over $2.6 billion on Halloween candy every year. That's a lot of chocolate. What's your favorite Halloween candy? Let's settle the debate once and for all. Is it chocolate, gummies, or something sour? Take the quiz, and let's see who wins. Why do we dress up? Now, we can't talk about Halloween without talking about costumes. Dressing up has always been part of the fun, but do you know why we do it? It goes back to those ancient Celts who wore animal skins and heads to blend in with spirits on Samhain. Over time, costumes evolved from spooky disguises into a free-for-all of creativity. Today you can be anything, a ghost, a celebrity, or even a giant slice of pizza. But back in the 19th and early 20th centuries, costumes were all about the scary stuff. People believed that if they looked frightening enough, they could confuse or scare off evil spirits. Today we dress up for fun, but you can thank ancient superstitions for starting the trend. By the way, drop a comment with your all-time favorite Halloween costume. Bonus points if it's something really spooky or clever. The meaning behind Halloween symbols. Let's not forget about some of the iconic symbols of Halloween. Black cats, witches, skeletons, and bats. They're everywhere this time of year, but where did they come from? Black cats. In the Middle Ages, black cats were believed to be witches' companions or even witches themselves in disguise. This superstition has stuck around, which is why black cats are considered spooky. Witches. Speaking of witches, they were a big part of Samhain celebrations. It was believed that witches gathered during Samhain to perform rituals and magic, which is how they became Halloween staples. Skeletons. These have always been a symbol of death and the afterlife, perfect for a holiday about ghosts and spirits. Bats were often attracted to the huge bonfires people lit during Samhain, adding to the spooky atmosphere. Now, giving a like to this video might not be a Halloween tradition, but certainly will be an encouraging symbol for us. Halloween around the world. While Halloween as we know it is largely an American tradition, did you know that other countries have their own spooky celebrations? Let's take a quick world tour. In Mexico, they celebrate the Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, a vibrant, colorful festival to honor and remember loved ones who have passed away. Families create altars, leave offerings, and even picnic at graveyards. In Japan, there's the Obon Festival, another holiday where people honor their ancestors. They light lanterns to guide spirits back to the afterlife and hold elaborate dances to celebrate their loved ones. In Italy, All Saints' Day, November 1st, is a day to commemorate saints and deceased loved ones with church services and visits to cemeteries. What are the Halloween traditions in your country? Share with us in the comments section. How you can celebrate sustainably. Before we wrap things up, here's a quick challenge for you. This year, instead of buying a brand new costume, why not try making one from things you already have at home? Not only is it more creative, but it's also better for the environment. You can DIY anything, from a zombie made out of old clothes, to a ghost using that sheet you never use. Let's make Halloween greener, one costume at a time. And if you really want to make Halloween even more eco-friendly, consider skipping the plastic decorations. Opt for natural materials like pumpkins, gourds, and fall leaves. When you're done, you can compost them instead of throwing them away. Speaking of sustainability, if you are interested to watch fact-based contents, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Alright, ghoul friends, that's a wrap on the history, origins, and traditions of Halloween. From ancient Celtic bonfires to sugar highs, this spooky holiday has had quite the glow-up. If you learned something new, give this video a like and share it with your Halloween-obsessed friends. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.